Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In the United States, March is universally recognized as Women's History Month. For this moment in history, let's go back to the 19th century and explore one of the most faithful missionaries in the history of the Christian church, a woman who devoted her life to bringing the gospel to China. Her name was Charlotte Diggs Moon, but history remembers her by her nickname, Lottie. Lottie Moon was born in 1840 and raised in the antebellum American South, a Southern belle who cared little for the cause of Christ until her conversion as an 18-year-old university student. She became a school teacher and served as a teacher in Virginia, Kentucky, and Georgia throughout the 1860s. All the while, she never married. At this time, it was not customary for an unmarried woman to become a foreign missionary. Most women in the mission field were there simply because their husbands were called to the mission field. Lottie Moon, though, was different. In the early 1870s, at the age of 32, she committed her life to sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with the vastly anti-Christian Chinese population. Much to the disappointment of her friends and family at home, she abandoned a life of relative luxury and comfort in the southern United States and embarked on a ship to China in 1873. Occasionally, she would return to America for a brief stay, but China became her permanent home for the rest of her life. For almost 40 years, Lottie Moon served the people of China as a light for the gospel. She opened a school for girls soon after her arrival and developed a loving connection with the Chinese girls she taught. Her home became a place of refuge and comfort for the people she served, many of whom would face severe persecution from pagan families and communities. She was instrumental in the testimonies of many Chinese converts. But more importantly, Lottie laid the critical foundations for the evangelical Chinese church. And in one of the most openly anti-Christian nations in the world, the church in China is experiencing dramatic growth today. Miss Moon was an enduring example of faithfulness and obedience to the call of Christ. In the tumult surrounding the fall of the Chinese Empire in the early 1900s, her generosity to the struggling Chinese poor was limitless. At risk to her own health, she donated much of her own food and clothing to the people around her. At the age of 72, she died on Christmas Eve in 1912 while traveling back to the United States. Thanks for joining me once again for A Moment in History. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe. And if you want us to cover one of your favorite moments in history, you can tell us in the comments. Now stay tuned for some new content.